Okay, let me talk to the women for a second because I know you know what I'm talking about. Have you ever spent time cleaning out your closet and you take all of your valuable clothes that you spent good money on and you haul that stuff to your local consignment store or a store like Plato's Closet or Clothes Mentor, and you're excited for how much money they're going to give you? And then suddenly the wind has been taken out of your sails when they want to offer you like $3 for your $180 J.Crew blazer or $5 for that $250 Coach bag. Yeah, I've experienced that a time or 12. Well, what if there was a way to clean out your closet and get what the items are actually worth and also get new stuff sent right to your doorstep? Welcome to Business with Purpose. I'm your host, Molly Stillman of StillBeingMolly.com, and this show's all about bringing you the stories behind the brands, companies, and small businesses that are changing the world. Each week, I interview an entrepreneur, a CEO, a nonprofit director, a community leader, or just an amazing person who is trying to make a positive impact, not only through their personal life, but also with their professional career. My goal is to show you that no matter what you do for a living, you can make an impact right where you are. My guest this week is Janet Wu and Erin Wold, the founders of Silkroll, a genius startup that is essentially a fashion exchange program for high-end clothing and accessories. Really, I was so excited for this interview, and I'm so pumped about what Silkroll is doing. You can actually tell how excited I am throughout the entire interview. So without further ado, on to my conversation with Janet and Erin. Hey, Erin and Janet, welcome to the show.
Awesome. Thanks for having us.
Hi, Molly.
Hi.
Good to be here.
I'm so excited. I was just telling you guys before we started recording that I watched your promo video for Silkroll, which for the listeners, I will have that promo video in the show notes because it's so great. And I was immediately like, I want to be best friends with Erin and Janet. And that's number one. And two, you guys you seem so fun, and everything about what you guys are doing seems so exciting. So I want the listeners to hear all about it because yeah, I was on the team after watching that video. So to kick it off, I want to have you guys do what I have all my guests do, and that's give us the Erin and the Janet 101. So whoever wants to start, just tell us your story and, where, kind of how you got started and where all the things that took you to where you are today.
Okay. All right. Hi, Molly. So this is Janet. I'll start first. It's going to be a long story. Okay. So let's see. I was born in China, and I grew up there until I was 11 when I moved to London, the UK, because my parents were expats at the time. And I grew up and I went to middle school, high school, college, and graduated. And, at the time I went in and started my career as an investment banker. I had a lot of influence from my parents, who are both from the finance world. And I thought, at the time, this is a great way to make some money early on when you're young. And, I've been a student for all my life. I just want to, be able to have like a good income. Mm-hmm. That was really like one of the key motivations. And also, there was something that I know that my parents wanted me to do and approved of, being Chinese. There was also that sort of sense of, I want to, be obedient. I want to sort of like get their approval. I want to have their validation. Mm-hmm. So I went in, and just became pretty good at what I was doing. And I kept on and I continued, doing that for 10 years. And during these 10 years, my work and my life took me all over the world. I ended up transitioning from London to Singapore, then from Singapore to Hong Kong. I mostly worked in the debt capital market side of the business, and I traveled literally all over the world, plenty of times to the US with my clients, helping them, issue debt in the international capital markets. Yeah. So, I helped over 50 clients, probably issue over $30 billion worth of debt with our execution team, of course, over the course of my career. It was around my 30th birthday, one of those moments where one day I just sort of sat down and went, wait a minute, do I want to continue doing this for the next 10 years? Mm-hmm. And what else is really out there in the world. I went into the industry not as, oh, this is my passion, but as, I could learn a lot of stuff. It's a good way to make money. But at that time I was getting really curious, and like my hands started itching as to, well, what is really the purpose of my life? I could really do more than this, I think. So I decided to take a sabbatical and travel to South America.
Yeah.
And spend 6 months out there, just doing what I really love, which is adventure traveling. I went to some really remote places in the world and really got to see how the locals lived, and and their sort of livelihood, habitats, their culture and history. And one of the things I took back with me as a result of that trip was really how our environment has really changed in the last 20 to 30 years.
Yeah.
And the type of impact it had on local, livelihoods, biodiversity.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was in the deep Amazons in Brazil, and I heard so many stories of how the Amazon is not what it used to be, even just 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Also, I'm a scuba diver, and I, dove into some amazing oceans around the world. And every scuba diving instructor would tell me, when I started out 10 years ago, it wasn't like this. We had way more fish, way more marine life, way more corals than what we have now. So with all of that, it suddenly occurred to me, our environment is really changing faster than we think. And we're, as most of us who live in large metropolitan areas, we're not, day to day, we're not really connected to these impacts.
Yeah.
Right? Because for us, living in the city, we don't get to see that. So I came back and really started, what I really wanted to contribute towards, I realized is that I want to help with like the whole concept of sustainability, whether it's environmental sustainability or social, sustainability, and how can we help the local communities in sustaining their, their ways of living. And I networked with the local impact investment community. This was back in Hong Kong, mm-hmm. when I used to work there. And I landed myself a role with a clean tech startup. Their name is One Earth Designs. They design solar cookers.
Yeah. And
it was it started also, it was a passion project by the founders who wanted to change the way that biomass fuel were used, mm-hmm. And how toxic it was, and to bring really like clean cooking methods to local communities. I thought it was a great cause. I joined them. And that was really the reason that brought me over to San Francisco, because the company pivoted their business model, and it went from a product that was selling to the developing countries to selling it to the U.S. So when I came out here, a lot of things changed. My lifestyle changed, the climate changed, my job changed. I was no longer a banker.
Yeah.
No longer needed all the fancy suits and dresses that I used to wear. And, what I noticed was that 90% of my closet became pretty much obsolete.
Yeah.
I didn't have any use to any of my high-end wardrobe. And I, was listening to a panel talk about the sharing economy at a conference in San Francisco. And that's when it hit me. It's like, what if I could share my things, right, that I spent really good money for, but no longer want, and share with people, women out there who actually would want them.
Yeah.
And retain the value of it, so I don't have to go out and spend a ton of money getting a new closet for myself. That was really like where the idea of Silkroll came from. I wanted to create a digital exchange for high-end women's fashion, right? High quality fashion that allow people to use a point system to retain the value and rotate their closet and recirculate their closets easily. So, when I first started, I was on my own. I didn't really know exactly where to go from here. I didn't have a technical background as well, and I wanted to build this to be a tech platform.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I had a lot of experience and expertise in business, in finance, strategy, and all of that, but I never really did much operations either.
Yeah.
So this is, perfect timing. And I met Erin on the 4th of July at a barbecue. It was my first ever
your
barbecue
first
America.
barbecue. Those are staples in America. Everybody does the 4th of July barbecue.
And there were fireworks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so I met Erin. I shared my vision with her about I have this idea to actually bring sustainability, maybe, to the fashion industry and to create this massive sharing closet amongst women.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where sort of the first conversation initiated.
So at that time, I had been living in San Francisco. When Jan and I met, I had been living in San Francisco for about 3 years. And I was living there because a company that I had helped start had moved me out there. And they had moved me out there from Florida, where I was living before San Francisco. And I moved to Florida from Chicago because I planned to go to med school.
Yeah.
And when I got to Florida, I was, I had just graduated from Illinois State University, and I knew that I didn't want to be a doctor and I didn't want to go to school for another 10 years or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so I joined the startup in Florida where we were originally the business was, it was a designated driver service in a way. So we would drive people home in their own car if they had been drinking. And I was really connected to the company's mission at the time because my dad was hit by a drunk driver and he suffered brain damage and he'll deal with mental illness from that for the rest of his life.
Wow.
So yeah. And, I one thing that I love about your podcast is people, have a purpose behind what they're doing. And so for me, I became very invested in this company.
Yeah.
And even though it had started, and over the years, the company started to transition its business model a little bit. And I was living out in San Francisco, and we were no longer heavily focused on the designated driving aspect of the business. We were focused on something else. And when Janet shared with me her vision, I was in one of those cross sections where I wasn't really fulfilled in my career anymore. I was ready to, jump in and do something new. And I had just spent about 5 years learning how to scale a really operations logistics heavy business.
Yeah.
Which is what we've turned our business into, being a very full service logistics platform for women's clothing. And the thing that connected me to Janet was when she shared, I just want to figure out a way where I can get back what I paid for my clothes. I remembered being about 12 years old and having taken a pair of overalls, Tommy Hilfiger overalls. They were my nicest thing that I had that just didn't fit me anymore. And I took them into a store called the Plato's Closet.
Oh yeah, I know Plato's Closet.
Oh yeah. Okay. So I remember I walked in, it was it was probably at the time maybe $80 overalls or something. And I brought them to the counter. I wore them. I grew out of them pretty quickly. I had gone through a growth spurt, and I remember thinking, I'm going to get, a lot of money back for these. And the lady behind the counter said, I'll give you, I think something like $6. And my heart sank. And I was like, what? And I had, for the rest of my life, I've had this stigma and almost a resistance to the secondhand market because of this, I don't know, frustration I had with the way the model works. And so when Janet shared with me that she had an idea on a way where I could get 80 points for my $80 Tommy Hilfiger overalls back in the day so that I could get, another $80 dress, I saw this business is brilliant and I want to be your co-founder. And so that's where, the intersection came. And that first business meeting we ever had, Janet said, all right, Erin, I'm going to, meet me next. This was the week after the barbecue. Let's meet up and have a meeting and kind of talk to see if we can move this thing forward. Janet was working out of the exact same office building as I was. So when I got the text message from her with the address of where to meet, we were literally in the same building.
Oh, that's
I had been working in the same building for years.
What a small world.
Right? So that's it. And the rest has been history.
I love it. Well, okay. So 2 things. I want to have the Plato's Closet conversation because I've got a Plato's Closet story. But before we do that, I want you guys to just briefly explain, for those that have not heard of Silkroll, explain exactly what it is and how it works, because this is the most unique thing I've ever heard of.
Okay. Oh, great. So Silkroll is a digital exchange for high-end women's fashion through a points earning system. Women can trade in clothes and handbags that they no longer want to use to earn points that they can then spend to refresh their entire closets without, spending extra cash.
Mm-hmm.
So how it actually works is that you go onto our website and create an account and request a trading kit. We mail it to you with a free, prepaid shipping label and a polymer bag. You drop all the things that you don't want anymore, ship it back to us. And then we actually evaluate everything on site here and award you with points within a week. And you can then immediately start shopping with your points. Now, the points are valued based on the product's estimated retail value. Mm-hmm. That's how we start off, right? So if you send in a $300 dress, you're likely to earn 300 points. However, with over time, as we start to understand and develop our marketplace, we built in a market demand valuation methodology, which means if you're sending us stuff that are actually in high demand,
like Lululemon,
yoga wear, mm-hmm. which is like the most popular item on our site right now, you can actually earn double or triple points for them, right? So one piece of Lululemon yoga tank top earns 250 points now on our site versus the $70-$80 that you will pay at a store.
Yeah.
So that allows us to incentivize our customers to send in desirable products because it gets them more points. At the same time, our customers, the buyers on the other hand, constantly have a great supply of great things that people want.
Right. So
it really builds into like efficient market mechanism.
Right.
So we're in the middle balancing the points and values. And customers who buy products from us, technically it is sort of a bartering system. Once you get it with your points, it's yours to keep forever. Mm-hmm. But we actually encourage our customers to return things if they no longer want them, or if they've worn them to like an occasion and they don't see themselves ever wearing this again. So we can recirculate it and let somebody else enjoy them.
It's kind of like a big fashion. You've been to a fashion swap, right, Molly?
Yeah.
So if you can imagine, we're basically like a hub for a massive fashion swap. But instead of getting at a fashion swap, sometimes you'll get you'll bring a Coach bag you haven't used in years and then end up with like a Target sweater. That's the kind of mechanism we don't want to encourage because your Coach bag is way more valuable than that, that lower level product. So we just created this fair value exchange system for people, and then you can do it online.
I have so many questions. This is so awesome. Okay. So as far as, I'm going to have to ask the question that I know all business owners listening are going to ask, and that is, how do you as business owners make money doing this? If everything is based off of an exchange platform, what's sort of like the financial business model for you? Because I'm curious, and I know the other business owners listening are going to be like, wait, what?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So right now, users can redeem their points by paying a 5% transaction fee.
Okay.
Just like, frequent flyer miles, how you would use them. Or they can become a monthly subscriber and pay us a membership fee that waives them the service fees, the transaction fees. So for the incentives for regular customers or people who trade a lot, they will save money by becoming a member.
That totally makes sense.
Yeah. And we also sell points as on in bundles on the site. Should you say run out of points or don't have enough points for what you want, so you can make the difference with buying points purchases.
Genius. That's so genius.
It's just like the freaking flyer miles.
I love it. That's so genius. And then I also have to ask, like, as you were developing this, so you've been developing this idea, and I know that to date, and I'm sure that after you film this video that this has gone up, but you guys have exchanged over $1 million worth of product, which is incredible. And I know that you really started with just sort of your network of personal contacts, but I'm just really interested, like, how long did it take you guys to really get up a good, amount of inventory in the beginning? Like, what were sort of your strategies in the beginning for building up that inventory?
Yeah. That's a great question too, because with all marketplaces, there's always that chicken and egg issue, right? Until you get enough inventory, people don't want to come and shop on it.
Yep.
So it was with friends and family, like you said, it's slow because everybody, like one person will give us like 10 things, another 10 things. It does take quite long. What we discovered is that as we're building the business, I started noticing first of all, like, all these consignment stores out there, right? Resale stores, they actually have a lot of excess inventory that they haven't sold. Mm-hmm. And they and the consigners don't want them back. So we knew that there's like this gap out there where all of these consignment stores are probably sitting on dead inventory that they don't know what to do with, because they got to refresh their stock every 2 to 3 months, and they constantly have new consigners who are coming into the store to consign stuff, right?
Right.
So we designed like an email campaign that reached out to like over 1,000 consignment stores that we actually found on the internet. And pitched them about this idea of, hey, if you want to give us all your dead inventory, you can earn points to shop on Silkroll and, get things that you can actually sell in your store. And it worked.
Wow.
I remember, like, even until this day, the major one that we got was this one store in Walnut Creek, California, emailed us back and said, hey, you know what? I have about 3,000 pieces of designer garments sitting in my garage that I've collected over the years. Do you want to come and get them? Well, I was like, yes.
Oh my goodness.
So we literally went to, his garage and literally like went through, they were all sitting in these large garbage trash bags, right? And some of them have been there for a long time, but they were very nice high-end designer garments. So
wow.
We collected like a lot of things there, and from that point onwards it took off. We knew that there was like a opportunity with the consignment space that we could actually tap into.
Yeah.
So we emailed as many consignment stores as we could, and now we've worked with, I would say, over 40 stores, large and small, who majority of whom are still customers of ours today.
That's incredible.
It is a win-win situation.
Yeah.
We get inventory, they get new stuff that they can sell, and because we're not consigning it to them, they don't have to pay us back we don't get the distribution.
Right.
We just charge them the membership fee or the transaction fee for redeeming their points.
And I would say the most when you say, wow, you guys have traded over $1 million worth of products, the end of the sentence should be out of a 300 square foot studio.
Oh yeah. That was actually going to be my next question, is like, where do you guys house all of this inventory? What has this process been like for you?
Well, I can talk about that, given I'm the combo for operations. So, Janet, we got lucky that our studio space is in Union Square in San Francisco, which is a very like high profile shopping area in the city, but we're not a storefront. So We're at like the back of this office building off Market Street in San Francisco.
Yeah.
With really high ceilings. We got really lucky. And the entire room is lined with 3 racks high. And every, couple of months we have to figure out where the heck we're going to put another rack in the room. But the reason that we're able to stay in such a small space is because we spend, majority of the week curating the products and then photographing the products, and then we list them on a Monday. So we just listed this week's products, and literally all the orders are getting taken right now. All the products are getting taken. So then we'll spend some time filling all those orders and creating space again. So we're truly are, recirculating all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, our stuff don't stay very long in the stock at all. Some of them barely make it for 24 hours and then they're gone, out the door. And that's really great. It really goes to show how engaged our customers are.
Yeah.
Some customers tell us that they have like reminders on their phones every Monday to check through Silkrolls new arrivals.
That's so awesome. Oh, this is such an interesting and fun conversation with Janet and Erin, and I just wanted to stop and take a moment to thank our sponsor of the show, who was able to help make the show possible, and that's CauseBox. As you know, CauseBox is my favorite ethical subscription box, and I have been a subscriber for 2.5 years. How it works is each season a new box is filled with everything from accessories and home goods and jewelry to the best in skincare and wellness products that are not only amazing, but they're also doing the most good. And each box delivers amazing value with a guarantee of over $150 worth of products for only $54.95. But if you use the coupon code MOLLY, you can get $15 off, making it $39.95. Now, the products are not just beautiful, they're also useful. The amazing spring box, it just sold out. I know. But do not be dismayed. The summer box is releasing soon, and I just got a little sneak peek, and it's incredible. I cannot wait to see what all is inside. As you know, the impact of each CauseBox is what I love most about them, and in my opinion, makes the whole membership even more worth it. The previous spring CauseBox employed more than 600 artisans under fair trade conditions in India and Kenya, and put 100 young girls in India through school. To reserve your summer CauseBox, because I know this one's going to sell out too, go to stillbeingmolly.com/CauseBox and use that coupon code MOLLY for $15 off. Now, back to my conversation with Janet and Erin. Janet, you really talked about this a lot, is just the impact that you guys are having on keeping these garments out of the landfills, and you're really, this is such a needed area in sustainability and fashion and keeping clothes fresh and like I said, out of the landfills, because so often, people go and buy a garment from the mall and they wear it 1, maybe 2 times. And then it gets either just like stuffed in the back of their closet, and eventually they just donate it to Goodwill or they throw it away. And all of this excess just builds up. It doesn't just disappear. I mean, sometimes people, I think, have sort of the out of sight, out of mind attitude. And they think like, I throw my shirt in the trash or I donate it to Goodwill and that's it. And it's nope, that's actually not how it happens at all. And so you guys are really taking, all these garments out of those landfills, out of the trash, out of Goodwill. And, I love it. It's seriously a genius idea.
Yeah. I mean, this is really like one of the, purpose-driven, this is the mission of our company, really. Yeah. Our purpose is really ultimately to shift the way people consume fashion, because it really is no longer sustainable. Mm-hmm. We didn't really do that much research at the beginning of what this industry is creating, or what the impact is at the very beginning. But once we started building the business, we networked with people in the industry, and then we even went on a tour at the Goodwill headquarters here in San Francisco. Yeah. That was the most eye-opening experience that we've ever had, and that shed a whole new light onto what are we doing here. We went to the Goodwill and then did a tour, and they told us 85% of all the clothing products that they receive in donations actually go to the landfill. Mm-hmm. Right off the bat, simply because they don't have enough resources or staff or even store room to sell everything. In the Bay Area alone, I think it was something like 14 or the nine.
Yeah.
How many pallets?
Oh yeah.
It was
So
like
okay. So
9
imagine.
pallets.
Well, if you imagine, okay, so there's this massive conveyor belt of these clothes getting dumped into this massive, like a trash compactor, but the size of a refrigerator is what it was compacting down to. And there's this conveyor belt just filling up this massive machine. It's compacting the clothes down. They get wrapped up with this plastic and tossed into a truck. And the size of the pallet, again, is a refrigerator. 9 of those an hour in San Francisco alone were getting taken to the landfill.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's about 14 truckloads a day.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's so insane. And
that is just in the Bay Area.
Oh my goodness.
So at scale, we're throwing out over, like 11 million tons of garments a year, right? And that is like over 80 pounds per person per year.
Right.
On average.
Yeah, on average. Yeah. So at scale, this is really like the impact is huge. And, most people aren't really aware of this, as you said, because it's not something that you look at every day. But the fashion industry itself is the second largest polluter in the world now after oil. And this includes, the pollution from the supply chain, like all the dyeing and the chemicals and all of that, and the amount of resources it takes to grow cotton and make t-shirts, right? So it takes about 7 tons of water just to make one cotton t-shirt.
Wow.
Right? And that is something now we, are so used to just walking into, Forever 21, H&M, buy it for $10 and wear it once and then throw it out. So there's a huge, there's damage really on both ends, really, right? The manufacturing end and also the waste end.
Yeah.
So we want to close that loop, really, of getting people to recirculate their fashion so it doesn't go to the landfill. And once we create a habit of recirculating and getting things from the secondhand market, then we may not need to have the need to walk into Forever 21 all the time and buying, cheap stuff.
Right. Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Now, when you guys receive products, how does it work as far as, do you guys just sort of evaluate what is going to, not sell, but be exchanged? If it's damaged or if it's just not in fashion, or what do you guys do with some of the stuff that you really think like we can't put this on the site?
So good question. So we accept almost 80. We do a pretty good job at educating our customers up front about what we take. So they're pretty good at, and we don't send it back to you.
Yeah.
So you've got to be pretty confident that what you're sending in is, worth it.
Yeah.
So if we don't keep it though, what we do now is we bring the textile to ICO, which is a textile repurposing. So what they do is they'll shred it into insulation, and things like that. And we do that. We take stuff down there pretty frequently.
That's awesome.
And in addition, we also work with charity partners. So for things that are not in, are not damaged or stained or in detrimental stage, but because they're just fast fashion, right? We actually work with local nonprofit partners that support women's causes specifically. So we've worked with charities here that support women for victims of human trafficking, also women who have just been released from jail and are trying to reintegrate into society.
Yeah.
So all of these, charities actually need a lot of clothes to support these women to reintegrate.
Yeah.
So everything that we receive, whether it gets listed or not, we know that it ends up, good, somewhere good.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's incredible. And I love that you guys are not only contributing to, or also helping to educate customers as far as what to do. But then, working with those nonprofit partners and textile recycling, that's incredible. I love it. Now, I want to go back because I had briefly mentioned that I wanted to have a conversation about Plato's Closet because
I was waiting for you to come back to that conversation.
I had to laugh because, so the readers of my blog and I've kind of in passing mention this on the podcast, but when I was in college, I made some very poor financial decisions, and I literally paid for it after college when I was in thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in debt. And for a couple of years, as I was paying off that debt, I was so broke, like beyond broke. And one of the ways that I would buy new clothes was I would take them to Plato's Closet. I would take like old clothes to Plato's Closet, sell them, and then whatever I made, I would, buy new stuff with, or just do like the store credit thing. And I remember there were times where I was taking those expensive goods that I had, made extremely poor financial choices buying. And I would take them like, a $300, Millie of New York dress. And they'd be like, hi, yeah, we'll give you $4 for that. And I'm like, what? Like $4? Like I bought this thing for $300 from Saks, and then I would just choke a little bit. But years later, I eventually got to know like some of the local buy sell pages, so I could sell or consign my stuff for a little bit of a higher value, but still not even anywhere close to what I paid for it. But I remember the last time I ever went into Plato's Closet, and I was maybe, I don't know, I had just had my daughter, my first daughter, or my first child, and so I was like 20, I was still 28 at the time. And I go in with a bag of stuff to the Plato's Closet near my house. And I had my daughter with me. And it was nice clothes. Like there was some J.Crew in there. There was some, Loft, some Ann Taylor, some Banana Republic. Like there was good stuff in there. Or even like some of my designer stuff, like Theory and Seven for All Mankind jeans and things like that.
Yeah, those are all popular stuff on our site.
Right. So totally. I go back to pick up to see what they were going to take or not take. They handed me back everything I gave them, and they were like, your clothes are a little too mature for us. And I was like, mature? I'm 20. What? Is it because I'm a mother? Like, do you not want mom styles?
How dare you?
But I just remember like being so offended because they were basically telling me I was too old to be in Plato's Closet. I was so mad. I was just like, what do you mean mature? I was like, this is good stuff. Like,
that is so funny.
What do you mean your teeny boppers don't want my Seven for All Mankind jeans? Like, what do you mean they want Forever 21? Like, anyway, so that was the last time I went to a Plato's Closet. And then I eventually found Clothes Mentor, but I still I remember I took some of that same stuff to Clothes Mentor, and I was baffled at what they were trying to offer me for some of these really expensive garments. So yeah.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, that's the dinosaur industry, that the consignment, I mean, this market has been, the consignment store industry has essentially taken over the barter system, which was around for, eons before, and then all of a sudden it shifted into this resale space, and we're just trying to take back the barter system for everybody.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. I think it's awesome. I think it is so genius. And I can't wait to try it out because I'm like I said, I'm so blown away at what you guys are doing. So, for people that are looking to try it out, how do they do that?
Right. So it's very easy. You come onto our website, which is just silkroll.com. You create a new account and request a trading kit from us. Once you receive the kit, all you have to do is fill it up with clothes and drop it off at the mail, and we will, we'll award you with points, and you start shopping. It's as simple as that.
That is awesome. Another question I should ask is, do you guys carry all sizes? So everything from very small to, up into plus size. Do you guys have, or are there certain sizes that you're looking for more of? So if people know that they have these, pieces in these, high demand sizes, what kind of sizes do you carry, and who should send in what?
we carry all sizes, all the way from 0 to, we've got some 16 plus, right?
That,
even
that, yeah.
So we don't discriminate on that at all. You're welcome to send in whatever size that you have. All sizes, I would say, are popular on the site because the variety of our users are, it's varied. Now we're national. It's a national service, so we have users across the country, and people have different preferences and different sizes and different styles, so we take them all. Now the thing for us though is that we only take on high quality products, right? So we strictly don't do brands such as Forever 21 or Gap or H&M and those kind of brands. And we strictly don't take things that are damaged or stained or really pilled, right? Like worn out. But as long as they're in great condition, they're high quality, then, we take them all. The funny thing is that until we list them on the site, we never really know what's popular, what's not. That's the funny thing. Right. We would actually be sitting here, the team would go, no, I don't know if this will I don't know if this will make the cut, if people want it. Actually, more than often enough, those are the type of things that actually sell the fastest. Yeah. You just never know, because our customers are not from one specific location or age group. Our customers, the age range is really varied. We have people as young as in their early mid-20s, all the way to their mid-50s using the service.
And older even. Yeah. And what we find, because we're growing, so what we'll find is if one week we have this, like say this week's customers, there was a lot of people that were like a lot of plus sizes, and what's on the new arrivals is a lot more plus sizes. What we'll see then is a whole bunch of people will request bags that are that size. So it's like people, so it's just kind of becoming an influx. Yeah. And then, so then if 1 week we list things that are a lot of like smalls and mediums, and we'll see that week a bunch of people that are that size requesting bags. And, so we're obviously committed to having it completely fair, like a really large stock of inventory of all sizes, because that's what makes it possible for everyone to participate. And people are constantly changing sizes too. So
Right.
If it doesn't fit you, get rid of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess I should also ask this, you mentioned that you really only take a lot of the higher end brands. Do you guys also take a lot of ethical fashion brands?
Oh yeah, we do. We already have quite a bit of ethical fashion brands listed on our site. And, these obviously in volume wise, we have less of those simply because they make less of them. But we definitely welcome ethical and sustainable fashion brands onto the site.
Yeah, it's basically whatever's going to last through multiple trades is what we'll take.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. That's so cool. Yeah. Well, I am so excited about this, and I can't wait to tell everybody about it. I can't wait to try it out for myself and clean out my closet, because I think it's, like I said, I think it's incredible. But before we wrap up here, because this has been such a fun conversation, this is my favorite part of the show, where I get to ask you guys just a couple of fun questions to get to know you a little bit better. And this is also my favorite part of the show because my husband, who edits my shows, he puts in a fun little sound effect to transition us, and every week I don't know what it's going to be. It becomes like a big surprise. And the listeners, it's funny because I'll get messages on social media about the different sound effects my husband chooses, because they're like, I'll be driving along and then all of a sudden I hear whatever he puts in and I just start laughing. So they're like, thank you for this little comedic moment of the week. So are you guys ready for kind of the bonus get to know you round?
Go for it. We're ready.
You can't wear a tank top 2 days in a row, and you can only wear your hair in a ponytail once a week. So I guess you pick today. Oh, and we only wear jeans or track pants on Fridays. Now, if you break any of these rules, you can't sit with us at lunch. Well, I mean, not just you, like any of us. Okay, like if I was wearing jeans today, I would be sitting over there with the art freaks.
Okay, so this first question, all of these questions are going to go to both of you. First is, if you could steal credit for any great piece of art, song, film, book, anything like that, which would you claim credit for?
Shoot, what are you going to do? What are you going to pick, Janet? I would say because I use it all the time, the barcode. I don't know if that's a piece of art technology.
The barcode?
Is that an option?
Sure, it can be anything you want. I love it.
The barcode?
I'm taking credit for the barcode.
The barcode.
I scanned so many barcodes a day.
That's hysterical. I love it. Hey, you are what, or you take what you know, or something like that. I don't know. I love it. What about you, Janet?
I really like, the life-changing magic of tidying up.
Oh yeah, Marie Kondo.
Yes.
Totally. That's perfect.
You totally schooled my answer.
I love it. All right, so the next one is, if we were to hook up your recently played playlist on Spotify to the show, what song would we hear?
Oh yeah, that's an easy one for me. Despacito. Or any reggaeton song.
Yeah, we're always listening
by Daddy Yankee.
We're always listening to reggaeton in the office. We're a Chinese and a white girl dancing to reggaeton in our office.
Awesome. I love it. All right. So the next question is, what is one beauty product you can't live without?
I would say it's my cream shadow. It's a dark purple cream shadow from Bobbi Brown that I've been using for years.
That's
your
good.
Eyeshadow?
Yeah, it's like
she
a
wears it
cream
every day.
shadow, but I wear it like almost like an eyeliner.
Awesome. That's awesome. What about you, Erin?
Definitely. I mean, for like a beauty product, it would be I don't know. I use this I don't even know what brand it is. I've had it forever, but I pencil my eyebrows with this eyeshadow.
Oh yeah, me too. I use an eyeshadow for my eyebrows.
I don't even know. Maybe it's MAC, or I don't know. I should probably be using something. When this thing runs out, I'll definitely be getting a more ethical brand. But yeah, it's like this ashy eyebrow thing. I don't like to leave the house without. I mean, you can barely tell that I even have it on, but I think it makes a difference.
Oh yeah, no, that's like for me, if I don't have any makeup on, or if I'm leaving the house and I have no time to do anything, I'm at least gonna fill in my eyebrows and put on mascara. It just makes me look awake.
Yeah, exactly.
And like a human being. All right. And my last question, and I wanted to ask this of you guys, since you work, with so many clothes day in and day out. What is your favorite ethical fashion brand, or just your favorite fashion brand? Like everything they produce, you love and you want to wear.
These days, just the regular fashion brand is probably Lululemon. Mm-hmm. not just because it sells so well on our site, but I really love because I'm very outdoorsy and I love being active. And since moving to California, this has become athleisure has become my new sort of outfit of the day.
Totally.
In terms of ethical brands, I actually really like Reformation.
Oh, yeah.
They've done a really good job combining, the mission side of it versus the branding and also the design. They've got some edgy, new, interesting looking designs. So I think they've done very well.
That's awesome. What about you, Erin?
I'm trying to think of what I would pick. We've been getting some really cool stuff into the office lately. I've been really liking groceries apparel.
Yes.
Every time we get their stuff in, I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's just funky.
Yes.
And but there's tons of perfect staples, but there's a little bit of an edge to them. I don't know. I really like that brand.
No, that's a great example. I actually got my first dress from them in the fall. Right before we went on our Disney cruise, and I wore that dress almost every day on the cruise. And it's been so cold, and I haven't really been able to wear it, and so I cannot wait till the weather really, really, really warms up for good. Because this is North Carolina, so one day it's 80, 90 degrees, and then the next day it's snowing. So I don't know. It's just but I know it is going to be on repeat this summer. It's so, like you said, it's like a basic, but kind of a funky basic, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And then the other one that for summer I think is going to be we just started getting this brand in, is Maya Miko. Is that how you say it? Yes. Yeah. And they use a lot of African wax prints and things like that. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, their stuff is so cool. I'm like, what is this? So yeah, they're definitely. I'm branching out my, what I would typically pick out, because I get to try all these random funky things that come into the office.
Yeah.
So yeah,
absolutely.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, Erin and Janet, this has been so much fun. I have loved having you on the show, and I am so excited for what you're doing with Silkroll, and I cannot wait to see it continue to grow and the impact that you guys are going to have on, the positive impact you're going to have on the fashion industry and the positive impact you're going to have on the lives of so many women who get to have a fun new closet just by trading in their clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
So
thanks for having us.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Thank
It
you.
was my
This
pleasure.
was really fun.
See, I told you. Now you know I was not lying when I said I think Silkroll is an absolutely genius idea. I loved this conversation with Janet and Erin, and I cannot wait to see how Silkroll grows and continues to evolve. And I'm so excited because I'm trying Silkroll out for myself for the first time this month. I will have all of their information, including how to try Silkroll, in the show notes. Another huge thank you to this week's podcast sponsor, CauseBox. Visit stillbeingmolly.com/CauseBox and use that coupon code Molly for $15 off. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. If you're a first-time listener of the show, welcome. Be sure to visit the archives for past shows featuring amazing entrepreneurs and business owners who are literally changing the world with their businesses. And if you're a regular listener of the show, thank you so much for tuning in week and week out, and thank you for your support. Be sure to head on over to iTunes, Google Play, Radio Public, and now Spotify, or whichever podcasting app you like best, and make sure you are subscribed to the show. Clicking that subscribe button helps to make sure that you never miss a new episode of the podcast. And while you're there, would you mind taking a moment to leave a review? Leaving a review of the show helps me to know what you're liking and how the show is personally impacting you. This latest review from Suzanne means so much to me. Suzanne says, Molly's podcast is one of my favorites. Not only informative and view-changing, she is funny and genuine. I feel like she is my friend, though we have never met. Molly encourages you to live your best life, and while you're at it, help your neighbor and the world. I hope you listen because the world needs a little more Molly these days. Thank you so much for that review, Suzanne. It honestly does completely make my day. As always, if you share the show on social media, be sure to use the hashtag BusinessWithPurposePodcast or tag me at StillBeingMolly on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. This show was edited by my amazing husband and executive producer, John Stillman, and the music is by Mark Killian of Third Wheel Media. Thank you so much for listening, and go do something good with purpose on purpose.